try to make it new. You can't fight it when it feels so true. You drive me crazy like no one else. The final moment before I lose myself. And it's no use working 9 to 5 if you want more than to stay alive. So come on over, we can make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do. On the beat, keep dancing through the night. We stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Oh, so come on over, we can make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do. On the beat, keep dancing through the night. We stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Oh, the morning light. Oh, I just wanna be your Superman. Come fly with me, just take my hand.
Because sometimes you're in a frame of mind that you want it so badly that you'll do everything that you possibly can to get it. And you're, going against that next person who, you're up against that next person. It's like, okay, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to put on as much money as I can. You omit this, you omit that. And the seller is not going to tell you no. The seller is not going to tell you no, because they are right now, it's their advantage. They're going to get that house out. They want to get it off their hands. They want to move down to Florida. No disrespect to people in Florida, like over there in the corner over there, tree. They want to move down. They want to retire. They don't care about anything. I'm going to sell my house in New Jersey. I'm going to move down to Florida, and I don't care what it is. I am just going to sell. But unfortunately, that person who's coming in, I'm thinking, you know what? Do your due diligence. Do whatever it is that you have to do, because even though you may have the money, later on, you never know what's going to happen in life. You do not know what emergency may arise. You do not know what health disaster may come upon you. You just do not know what will happen. And here you are stuck with termites eating away at your house, or the foundation is sinking, and you're like, oops, do I fix the house or do I deal with my health? I'm just putting it out there. So instead of this being, let me just get the word, instead of being so rushed to get what it is that you want, just use wisdom and, take what Amanda is saying to you today, get that inspection done, go through the process. Go through the process, and Amanda is going to tell you the process that you have to go through. Go through the process that's needed for you to purchase, so that when you finish, you can rest your head at night. Who wants to go to bed knowing that, oh, I have a leaky roof? Oops, if I had that inspection, I would not have known that this is the problem. You bought it and it was a nice sunny day, and every time you go, the sun is shining,
And now the rain has come. Yes. And now you're finding out you need a pail because the rain is outside. Yes. It's raining today.
Look at home.
To find out. Okay. Okay.
A good time. Right. Look at that house to see if there's any leak in the roof.
Okay.
Isn't that something? You purchase the house in the summertime, and every time you go, the sun is always shining. It's a nice, beautiful day. Or you purchase the house. Now, this is the thing too, Amanda. You purchase the house in the summertime, and so when winter time comes around now, you don't even know if the boy is working or not. Hence the inspection. So, Amanda, just give us some more wisdom and just reinforce what you just said to us about the inspection and the process of actually purchasing that property. It is so important. But Amanda is going to take it away. She's going to tell you what is the process of purchasing a property and really honing on the inspection and how important it is to have property inspected.
Right. So, the process of buying a home, it's kind of, you got to prepare first. So that's, the preparing part is really speaking to your lender to see what you qualify for. That's the number one thing you need to do, because they're going to give you what's called a pre-approval letter. And in order for me to start taking you out and showing you homes, you're going to need that pre-approval letter, because this says, okay, I spoke with the lender. I showed them all of my documents. They know exactly what I qualify for, and I qualify for this amount. So that's like the number one thing you have to do. Any realtor will tell you, I'm not shopping with this client until they have that pre-approval letter. Because if we do go shopping and if you do like a home, when we submit an offer on that home, you need to have that pre-approval letter with the offer. Otherwise, the other agent's going to look at it and be like, this is no good to me. There's no proof that you can buy this. And then even backing up a little bit, when you get that pre-approval letter, when you're speaking to the lender, they can help you prepare for, if you say you only qualify for 350 right now, but the house you want is 550. They'll let you know, maybe you need to build your credit score up a little bit. Maybe you need to build your work history up a little bit. Maybe you need to pay down 2 credit cards. They'll let you know how long and what you specifically need to do to build up that, that loan amount so that you qualify for more. So the number one thing to do before you start anything is to talk to that lender, see what you qualify for, see if it's time right now for you to buy, or see if you should wait a little bit and qualify for more, and you want to get that pre-approval letter. And after you get the pre-approval letter, then you can come to me, the realtor. I mean, you can come to me before that too, because I'm going to tell you the whole process, obviously, and help you and hold your hand the whole way. But then we're going to start shopping for homes. And then once you find a home that you like, we submit an offer in. Again, this market is aggressive, so we might be submitting more than one offer in. You can't submit more than one at a time, but we might have to submit multiple offers on different properties. And then if that offer gets accepted, that's when it goes to the next step, which is attorney review. So the attorney review process is where, we submit give them the contract that's signed by the seller and the buyer. It should take about 3 days, but sometimes it takes longer if all parties are not, responding quick enough, or if things are not being negotiated as quick enough. Basically, attorney review is where the attorneys negotiate the contract and all the terms and make sure everything is clear. Whether you want to give the deposit in 10 days, or maybe the buyer can't close until they finish the sale of their home. Like, there's all kinds of different terms, but all of that gets put into attorney review. And once that's concluded, then you're officially under contract. So at this point, you can't really get out of the deal unless something crazy happens. But when you're under contract, that's when you order the inspection and the appraisal. The lender will order the appraisal and you will order your home inspection. I recommend doing the home inspection right away because, again, you want to find out if there's anything wrong, and this is your opportunity to get out of the deal if there is something crazy wrong. So you want to have the home inspection. I mean, now in this market, I have my people do it right away. Like, we have the home inspection immediately after, and then I have the lender order the appraisal immediately as well. So things move a lot quicker now because the market is just so aggressive. You want to move it along and make sure this deal is closing. So after the inspection comes back, usually, I mean, back in the day, you were able to negotiate, like we were just talking about, credits and stuff like that. Now you can get a credit, but you're not going to get as much. Just because the sellers know, again, like they can say no, and maybe they have like 10 other backup deals that offers they can accept. So it's a little bit harder to negotiate, but you can still get something, especially if it's reasonable or something that's not going to allow you to pass like the CO inspection or something like that. So after you get through the inspections and you decide whether, you're going to get a credit or not get a credit, then we have to wait for the bank appraisal to come back, which is another huge one that's important because we have to see what the property appraised at. And again, that goes back to whether they waive the appraisal, or if they're just buying at the appraisal. Like, so if it under appraises, fine, the person walks away with equity. But if it over appraises, then the person's going to have to come up with money, or the seller can come down in price and negotiate. This is if they didn't waive anything. So that's where another negotiation might have to come in, is when the appraisal comes back. After the appraisal is all cleared up, that's when the mortgage commitment gets done after that. And then we're pretty much, I don't want to say smooth sailing because there's always stuff that comes up, but that's when we're pretty much, the ball is going to continue to roll until closing day. And then at closing, the day before the closing or the day of closing, you'll have a final walkthrough. So you get to walk through the property again and make sure that it's in the same, not with your inspector or anything, but you get to walk through and make sure it's in the same condition that it was when you got it inspected 45 days ago, 30 days ago, whenever it was. And then you'll have your closing. That's like a summary. It's a lot that goes on.
But that's good. I love that. But, I'm going to back up a little bit because it said something. And I think that I think there's some people probably need clarity on this, right? And I think you guys right on your question, work history. And the reason why I'm going back on that, because, I know that there's something that Ray says that, like, so for instance, you just start a new job, maybe 6 months or so, but you're in the same line of work, Okay, like say for instance, you're in banking. Will that count towards a good work history, even though you're in the banking industry, you've been in the banking industry as an example for the past, maybe say, let's say 10 years, but then you just got a new job, maybe 6 months ago, and of course your income increases and you decide, you know what, I'm going to purchase a property. How would that look for work history?
Okay, so, and again, I'm not a lender, but speaking just from experience, if it has the same title, that counts. However, if you got a raise at this new job, they might not be able to count the raised price because you've only had that for 6 months. So it has to be like a 2-year work history. You have to prove that. And I know that there were some instances with COVID that if you had like a 2-month gap just from, whatever happened with your job with COVID that you couldn't go, they would you just have to give them a letter of explanation. But that's if you were at the same job and you can continue. But normally it's 2 years, but if you have the same title, yes, but the income, no. And I had a client once who had, their income was for 2 years, but it was kind of low, but then they had a second job, but that second job was only for 6 months and they couldn't count it. So it has to be, because it was in the same field, but a different position. So she kind of did like overtime, but it was considered a second job. So they can't count that, because it was only 6 months and it was a different job title.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Because, because
they're the lenders, so they can, that's them, because like we said, it falls back on the lenders. Because one of the things I thought about was, okay, because we talked about the pre-approval. So I just had, that pre-approval is so important because, and maybe through your experience, maybe you experienced this, Amanda, what happens when you really think the deal is really getting ready to go through, and here comes this stop because they could not prove something was not being able to, because I know it happens. I'm sure it happens. At this much, I pretty much know that. I don't know whether you've experienced that, because you can have this customer who's excited about the deal. They really think this is close, and all of a sudden the bank comes in and says, this customer cannot prove X, Y, and Z. So now what are we going to do? Because if they can't prove it, then you can't close that deal. They're not going to get the money. The bank is not going to finance that. So have you experienced that?
Yeah, I actually had, so now, like through that growing experience, I always talk to the lender directly. I tell my client, give me your lender's number because I need to talk to them, but I need to make sure everything's on track and whatever. Some people call that overstepping, but I need to, because I need to make sure that everything's going to run smoothly. But I had a deal that my clients we were a week before closing, and the lender said, I'm sorry, I can't do it, because he had something with a bankruptcy and like an open mortgage from a divorce. It was like all this stuff. But I'm like, why is this coming up now? So I literally had to take that whole deal and switch it to a whole new lender. I talked to like 5 different lenders, just trying to get anybody who would help me get this through, because they can all do different things in different situations. Right. So we had to move it over to a whole nother lender, and that lender got it closed for me, which was amazing. But sometimes it happens. But now and it's partially, the clients have to be fully honest about what's going on with their background. But this guy really wasn't this mortgage popped up that it was some kind of divorce issue where his ex-wife was living there and she took over the mortgage, but it was like there was a recording issue. It was just a lot of stuff. But the one lender he's like, I just can't do it. I'm like, it's like, you could have figured that out earlier. I don't know why, I can't speak for them because I don't know why, but I switched it to an entire, new lender, and that guy was able to get it closed. So, but now I definitely I ask my clients all kinds of questions. Like, that's more of the lender's job, but just as like a, second opinion, I guess you could call it. I ask them, have you had any bankruptcies? How long have you been working at this job? Are you divorced, married? I mean, these are personal questions, but that's why you have to get to know your client as well, because you really need to know their situation so that you can help them. Yeah.
I like that, because I know the underwriter have to do, their work, and they have to do all their, they do all the ins and outs. They ask for this and they ask you for that, that pay stuff like 15 times over. And, and then they said, oh, there's a $2 deposit in the bank account. What is that?
Yes,
I mean, they go through all these painstaking, issues with the clients. But then what I'm saying is, what I'm thinking of, even with that, situation, the underwriter should have seen this before, because when you pull the credit report, you see some things. You know what I mean? There are things that the underwriter will see that even the client sometimes is not even aware of. So why wait until the end, towards the end, where this could have been avoided by saying something, maybe a month before, a few weeks before, but not so close to closing. And, like you're right, Amanda, it's a good thing that you're doing that with your clients, because that shows that you're taking that, that extra, and that shows me that you care about your clients, and making sure that your client, when you put that offer in, listen, I'm here to work for you. You're telling me straight off the bat, I am here, I'm on your side, I'm here to work for you. You trust me as much as I'm going to put my trust in you. For you unveil, you tell me, you speak to me, tell me what's going on, because if you don't, I won't be able to help you. You know what I mean? So the more information you get up front, and the more information you know about your client, it'll be the better, the better the transaction will be, because you can go ahead and you can go to battle for that client, like you did. So I commend you on that, because some people are like, okay, we can't do this deal, we got to crash it, we gotta do something else. And then when you have that rapport with your client, and you build that good rapport with them, really good solid rapport, what happens is they're able to tell you now, because they feel free, they feel open, they feel like they can trust you, because they know, listen, you come highly recommended after what you did for Johnny. And if you can do that for Johnny, because word of mouth, that referral is solid. Because if you help me with my transaction, and you help me to get into this property, I'm going to tell my cousin, I'm going to tell my brother, I'm going to tell my neighbor, I'm going to tell my coworker that this person, Amanda Tolve, helped me. You need to speak to her. And this is what she did for me. No. You need to speak to Amanda. She'll get you through this. You know what I mean? What better compliment than that? Having that referral from a friend, from a neighbor. And so when you're honest and open with your realtor, and you're able to tell them what's going on, then they can turn around and they can fight for you. I love that. Come on, tell us some more stories. Do you any more questions?
Well, yeah, you know what? So Amanda, I know that buying a home can be fun. It also can get overwhelming, because I know when I was going to purchase my home, and going around with my real estate agent, I had to narrow it down like super quick, because I saw the first 3 homes and I was done. So it's exhausting. Although I love house hunting, I love it. I love HGTV. I love it. But it can also be overwhelming. And I know it must be overwhelming for you as an agent as well. So how long, on average, how long does it take normally for a buyer to, buckle down and say, okay, this is the one? Do you get annoyed? How does that work?
Okay. I mean, I haven't had experience with people looking a long time. I can't figure out if it's something I'm doing specifically, but I know that I take the time to really help, not so much like figure out what they need, but help them figure out what exactly they're looking for. Because if they're like, oh, I want to be in Morris County, but you know what, I might not mind living in Bergen County. Oh, but then maybe I'll go to Hudson. You have to be like, okay, no, we're not going to run around to 10 different counties. You have to help them narrow it down so that they specifically know what they want. And I know, especially in this market, it can be exhausting, but I don't know. I've just had luck with, I mean, I had this one client in Nutley, they were like brand new, like they didn't know what was going on. I helped them with the whole process, and we got them like in 10 days, we found a home for them, because I really took the time to sit with them and know exactly what they were looking for. And I kind of take the time too, if they are confused, show them three houses, but show them in those different areas. And then they're going to know immediately which one they like better, and they're able to compare. But yeah, it shouldn't take, sometimes I hear people saying, oh, we're looking for a year. You shouldn't be looking for a year unless the client is just really not ready. But that's another question. As a realtor, you need to make sure your clients are ready to buy, so you're not wasting your time either. because you know you don't get paid until the deal closes. So you don't want to waste a year going around with these people and they really don't know what they want. You have to help them too. Like that's my job, is to help them figure out if it is their time or if they want to wait a little bit. I have clients that, you know, I talk to them, they're like, you know what? Yeah, I think we're going to wait. So they'll wait 6 months, they'll call me, then we'll go find the house, you know, in a month and we're ready to go. So you got to really like feel it out and make sure. But in this market, I totally understand the overwhelming thing, because I also had a client friend that got really overwhelmed because we were going to see all these houses and it was just so competitive. We were getting outbid. And then she said she was done with it and she wasn't going to look anymore. And then I talked to her husband and we got her to see one more house and they got that house. So you got to like almost be their support system too and help them not give up. And that we weren't really looking that long. I think it was only a month and a half, but it just gets, like you said, it gets draining because it's so competitive. And then everybody else, you know, talks about, oh, it's crazy out there, this and that. And they fill your head with all these ideas. And really that's, you know, I got to bring them back and be like, no, we can do this. You know, when you have the right house or when we find the right house, it'll work out.
Oh, that's a good one, because I remember, you know, and I know of some people that they're still purchasing now, you know, even though they say it's a seller's market, you know, and I've been reading up on all these, just doing some research, and, you know, I find that, oh my goodness, people are bidding like $50,000 over asking price. So which means now it's, you know, you have to either come out of, you know, pocket more and just try to see if you can get that one particular house. People are going further out to get the house that they really want, because they're like, oh, you know, if you go further out, you know, the better prices and all that good stuff. Now, I've seen where people, even in this market where it's a seller's market and where it's very competitive, people are still purchasing properties. So it lets me think, wait a minute, why is it that some people, maybe it's just a come out of conversation, why is it some people will discourage, or even in their conversation say, oh, this isn't a good time to buy because, you know, look at it, there's no properties out there and prices are high because, you know, they're asking for so much, and no, you gotta wait because, you know, it's better if you wait. And then you wait and you're like, oh my goodness, but then that person has got a house and they only had one other offer on the house, or sometimes no offers at all, and your offer was the first offer. What would you say to someone, like you said, who like say discourage the sister or the brother or the cousin from purchasing a property now? And is this a good time to purchase? Is this time a good time to purchase? And what would you say to someone who is just discouraged, like you said to your client, because the sister is saying no, the brother is saying no, the auntie and the uncles and the cousins, they would say, no, you got to wait until, you know, the market settles down or when it's a buyer's market. What would you say to that person? I want to know for real.
I would tell them to use me as their realtor and I will find them a house. It really comes down to that. You have to do the work, you know, you have to, it's not impossible to get a house. It's not. And you don't have to overpay tremendously for these houses. And it might take a little more time maybe than they expected, but as long as you're able to run comps and figure out how much these houses are worth. I mean, yes, the market is crazy and aggressive right now, but there are still houses out there and there's still negotiation going on. So you can still work things out. I mean, I've still sold, or not, no, my listings have gone for over asking, but buyers, I've gotten them deals that are under the asking price. So it's still, you know, you have to know what you're looking at. How many days in the market has it been? Is it like a condo? Where is it? Where is it located? Mm-hmm. You have to know that stuff in order to get your client the best deal. So yeah, it can get overwhelming, but just, you know, take a breath and breathe, because you want the house that works for you. You don't want to just rush into, you know, overpay for something that's not meant for you. Maybe it was meant for that other person and they're comfortable overpaying for it, but every person's situation is different, and everybody needs a different specific house. So yeah, I think that just be patient.
Because sometimes the patients, I'm thinking about patients because I know about 2 or 3 people right now, Amanda, they've been looking about 6 months, if not longer.
It's a long time.
And when I tell you they are so frustrated, they're discouraged, they don't even want to look at another house. They're just so tired. They're just exhausted because they can't seem to understand why they cannot find the house. And why is it that every time they get ready to, it's just they put the offer in, it doesn't work, and they're just to the point now that they're just frustrated and they're just tired. They don't even want to talk to anybody else anymore. That's just where they are. I'm like, oh my goodness. So trying to encourage them, and it's hard.
Lawanda, they need to speak to Amanda.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I said. Exactly.
Yeah, 6 months is a long time.
That's a long time, man. That's too long. I'm like, you're still looking? I'm like, wait a minute. And they're so discouraged. They have everything ready. They've been going back and forth with the bank. So they're okay with that. They did verification. So they're ready for all that, but they're just so tired. They're like, I don't even want to look at another house.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that has to do with the offers that are, I don't know what price range they're looking at, but all of that is like stuff that your realtor should help you determine. Like, if it is in an area where people are offering over, well, then they're going to have to tell you, look for a house that's 20 grand less than what you're willing to pay, because you're going to have to go over that much. Like, there's like little things that you have to consider that, because you shouldn't be looking for 6 months or a year unless you're a very difficult person. But I mean, I don't think that's, that's the case.
No.
So these people want houses, they just need your help. And that's what as a realtor, you're that person for them.
Right.
Trust you to help them with those decisions.
Lawanda.
Good.
I think that before we're finished here, I do think that you should get that information and just give them, Amanda's right, and all
definitely,
and have them call Amanda, and I'm sure that probably in less than 6 months that happy that you went.
If you want more than to stay alive.